So next up, as was briefly mentioned in our welcoming words, the Baltic Sea Action Group has initiated a platform to promote regenerative agriculture. And this platform is called Carbon Action. So next up, we're really delighted to have an inspirational speech by who is apparently called the mother of carbon action herself, Saara Kankaanrinta. So she is the co-founder of the Baltic Sea Action Group and the Carbon Action platform, and she will show that change is possible. So thank you very much, Saara, for being with us.
Thank you. I will need help changing the slides so I can use my hands. I always use my hands, otherwise it'll be mennään vaan seuraavaan. Okay, so my name is Saara. I have many hats. I work with the Baltic Sea climate and the biodiversity in many ways, but today the most relevant is that I'm the founder of the Baltic Sea Action Group and of the Carbon Action platform, and also chair of the platform, and owner of Credia Research Farm, together with my husband. So, how did we end up to the soil? We came against how the water flows. We came from the sea to the field. Because everywhere where you have intensive agriculture, forestry, you have very eutrophicated water areas. There's Lake Erie, Baltic Sea, Bay of Mexico, the Yellow Sea. That means that the nutrients that should be in the field are running off to the water bodies and making it very eutrophicated. That's how we ended up from the waters to the field. And as I have worked with the Baltic Sea about 20 years already, it is obvious that all these three crises are very strongly interconnected: the climate crisis, the loss of biodiversity, and the eutrophication. But so are the solutions. So, to the soil. 2017, my husband and I, and when I say we of course represent the whole Baltic Sea Action Group, gathered a small core team and took the team to Paris to a soil carbon sequestration conference, in order to sketch the best possible plan we could do. Core people here, Jari Liski, Chief Scientist of Finnish Meteorological Institute, you will hear from him more later on. FMI, the Finnish Meteorological Institute, does not only provide weather services, but has an extensive research branch of the climate systems, including land ecosystems. So that's why the FMI was the best partner for us to coordinate the science of the carbon action. Then there is Juuso Joona and Tuomas Mattila, one of the best farmers in Finland and also researchers. Very perfect ones to educate the farmers in the carbon action. There we were. Then drawing together a platform for needed action for the systemic change. Finland was already committed to the 4 per 1,000, and we thought that this needs to be implemented and put into practice. We knew that the platform like this, from soil processes and DNA all the way to the policy and steering, would be tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions. But we started it anyway with the seed money of Sitra, 400,000. Our global network that we already formed previously and also in Paris was very supportive for us from the beginning. It's a joint mission for so many of us, like you also here today. Now 5 years later, I have a hard time not showing you that way, but anyway, now 5 years later, we've grown from 0.5 to 40 million. There's about 3,000 people involved in the platform. In the core, there's the science, of course, the soil carbon verification, and also as important are the real-life farmers, business and decision makers. And this kind of platform for systemic change, we thought that if we can't make it here in Finland, then who could be? We have the welfare states and heavy subsidy system, so we really have to try and leverage our possibilities. You will hear more about the verification and the whole science-based science work that we have here. But of course, the idea is to create tools that can be used to the policy and steering. We utilize all the data and technology from satellites to soil measurements, and I can even see from my mobile phone how the carbon sequestration is doing at the moment in my farm. And as we have the 3,000 people and even more involved in the platform, I want to remind you that the most valuable workers are the plants and the underground soil food web. It's all about photosynthesis. That's how we get the carbon into the soil. That's how we get it to the microbes who incorporate it to the soil structure. These guys we value. Okay, so we empower the farmers and remind that those who had tend the land have the solution in their hands. This is from our farm. It's same field, 2 years apart. Before and after, we put some wood-based soil amendments. You can see clearly, you don't have to be a farmer to see that the difference is big. And there with Juuso and there's also core people Laura and Pieta making a soil demo. You will probably see that, those who come to Kvidia. Carbon action is based on regenerative agriculture, but I don't have to go through the principles as we just talked about it. You know the basic idea of the regenerativity. Okay, but we cannot make the change without the real-life farmers. Not only flagship site, but real-life farmers making a living out of farming. We have 100 pilot farms committed to the 5-year training and being a scientific material also. And we have big, small, organic, non-organic, animal, not animal, very different kinds of farms, because this is not for niche farming. It should be for everyone. And then we have also, because we couldn't train everyone so intensively, so we founded a Carbon Action Club, which has over 1,000 farms already. And one bottleneck that we identified in the beginning was the advisors. So we trained 30 advisors for the soil health. Then we also made a e-learning platform or course available for everyone during the pandemic. So aim is that we can share the knowledge for everyone who's interested. Yeah, farmers are motivated and really value the work. They see it in their professional pride, resilience, and also profitability. And it's heartbreakingly nice to do things with all these farmers that we have on the platform. Okay, let's see. We have stressed from the beginning that this is a multi-benefit platform. It's not just about carbon, it's about biodiversity and climate, waters as well, not only climate and carbon. So, as you probably all know, 25% of all the biodiversity is in the soil. That is why we have integrated the biodiversity into the verification and policy together with carbon. We started this year, of course, utilizing all the work that we've done this so far. And Professor Anna-Liisa Laine is leading the work side by side with Jari. So when it comes to ecosystems, you know that diversity is not only the aim, but it's also the means. It's the motor that keeps the ecosystem going. And here we have the flagship site. Welcome those of you who come there day after tomorrow. That we use for the research and practice. We've gathered a lot of carbon action research into the farm. Then we also try different practices, and we train there different kinds of groups, journalists, officers, scientists, politicians. Majority of the government of Finland has been there with the shovel in their hand. That's the finance minister. And as we are open and a very big group of variety of different sciences, interesting things happened. There was a academic friend who called Ilkka and said that he has a new way of measuring carbon from the soil. And Ilkka was at the moment chair of the University of Tampere, and he said that let's integrate it, let's take this to the photonics department of University of Tampere with Jari. And a few years later, they were just testing the innovation in Crete. Now the network is developing a very cost-efficient and accurate measurement to soil carbon. So let's see what it comes. Stay tuned about the laser-induced plasma spectroscopy. Okay, and here are the business partners of our Carbon Action Platform. Very powerful tool. They train the contract farmers, they influence consumers, and also influence, for example, politics. They just made a statement to the coming government that we should promote, or they should promote, regenerative agriculture. So we do share a shared vision. And used correctly, it's a very powerful tool. And I think we're happy both ways with the business and the platform, how we can make things happen. Okay, one of my favorite slides. Despite all the technology and all the different things that we do on the platform, it's all about the healthy ecosystem cycles. This is what we say always, it's in the core. We humans have to understand and respect the rules of ecology. Because we cannot change how the nature works, but we can change how we work, how the humans operate. So that's why we need to make a paradigm shift from degenerativity to regenerativity. And last thing, but not least, what I want you to take home with you is that when something is on the paper, it's a start, but it's not enough. We really have to make it happen. And to make it happen, we have to collaborate. And that's the only way we can succeed in this. And we're open platform, we're open for collaboration, so thank you if we can collaborate in the future.
Thank you so much, Saara. Wow, this is really impressive to learn about all that you've been able to achieve with the Carbon Action Platform. And thank you also for reminding us that the stars of this show are really the microorganisms in the soil, and that we need to understand ecological cycles to let them do their work. So thank you for that. So now we're going into a coffee break. So please, feel free to grab a refreshment, take your time, mingle a little bit. We also welcome you to go to the exhibition room, which is right behind this wall behind me. You can access it through the hallway. And there are different booths that you'll be able to learn from. So please make sure to do a little tour in the exhibition room, and we will meet again at 4:20 after the coffee break. So see you soon.